You've trained for months for the marathon, but coincidentally sprained your ankle the week before. You finally get the dream job interview, then inexplicably show up late. You meet an amazing partner, only to start picking fights as things get serious. What if I told you these aren't accidents? What if your mind isn't working against you, but is, in fact, following an ancient hidden protocol, a protocol designed not to make you fail, but to keep you, in its own distorted way, safe? We call it self-sabotage, laziness, fear of failure, a character flaw to be stamped out. But what if the very thing you think is your flaw is actually your psyche's most primitive and dedicated defense system? A system so utterly devoted to keeping you within the bounds of what it knows, that it would rather watch you fail in a familiar hell than risk an unfamiliar heaven, no matter how beautiful that heaven might be. Today, we're going on a deep dive into the hidden architecture of your self-sabotage. We'll learn how to speak its language, not to defeat it, but to finally understand it and perhaps bring it onto your team. To begin, let's meet a character that lives in the deepest, oldest part of your brain, your amygdala. Neuroscience calls it the threat detector, but I like to think of it as your Stone Age security guard. Picture a hyper-vigilant, well-meaning but utterly outdated guard, whose job description hasn't been updated in roughly 50,000 years. His sole mandate is simple: identify all unknown things, assume they want to kill you, sound the alarm. Full stop. Back then, unknown meant a new forest, a strange tribe, an unfamiliar sound in the night. Today, his threat radar lights up for a new job opportunity, a first date, hitting publish on your creative work, raising your hand in a meeting, that gut-churning, heart-pounding anxiety you feel right before a big presentation. That's not weakness. That is your Stone Age security guard slamming his hand on the panic button because he genuinely believes that standing in front of a room of colleagues is the existential equivalent of standing alone and armed on the savannah. In his mind, the potential for embarrassment or rejection is coded with the same mortal danger as a predator's attack. His solution? He'd rather you get sick, feel suddenly exhausted, or find a compelling reason to stay in the cave, your comfort zone. Because the cave, while limiting, is known. And in his prehistoric playbook, known equals alive. So when you find yourself procrastinating on that important project, it might not be laziness. It might be your internal security guard issuing a prehistoric evacuation order from a situation he has tragically miscoded as life-threatening. But the story of why we hold ourselves back is more personal and profound than just old wiring. This is where it moves from biology to biography, from the brain's ancient hardware to the unique software of your life story. This brings us to a much more intimate force, what the psychologist Carl Jung called the shadow. Your shadow isn't a monster. It's far more tragic than that. It is the collection of every part of you that you were taught, explicitly or implicitly, to hide, suppress, or disown in order to be acceptable, lovable, or good. Maybe as a child, your natural anger was met with punishment, so you learned to bury it. Maybe your need for help was seen as neediness, so you locked away your vulnerability. Maybe your desire to daydream or rest was labeled laziness, so you exiled your own capacity for ease. And here is the critical twist, the engine of so much internal conflict. Exiled parts don't disappear. They don't politely vanish. They go underground. And from the basement of your psyche, with no other way to get your attention, they become saboteurs. They scream through action what they cannot say in words. I am still here. Acknowledge me. So the raw ambition you were shamed for as being too much, that exiled part might now work to ensure you choke right before success, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that whispers, see, you never really wanted it anyway. It's safer this way. The vulnerability you locked away, that exiled part might orchestrate relationship drama to force someone to care, because the straightforward ask, I need you, feels far too dangerous. In this light, self-sabotage is not merely a flaw. It's a distorted, painful love letter from the parts of you that are starving for recognition. Now, to truly understand the scale of this internal negotiation, we need to zoom out even further. Your psyche didn't develop in a sterile laboratory. It was shaped within a culture, a family, a community, all of which come with unspoken but powerful survival rules. You were born into a story that began long before you did. Across the world, cultures have their own metaphors for this pressure. In the West, we have tall poppy syndrome, the unconscious social urge to cut down those who rise too high. In Japan, the saying is, "The nail that sticks out gets hammered down." The underlying message is universal. Belonging is often traded for brilliance. Conformity is exchanged for standing out. From a very young age, we absorb an invisible script. It plays in the background of our minds like a haunting melody. Don't stand out too much. Don't make others uncomfortable with your success. The price of being extraordinary is loneliness and envy. So when you're on the verge of a genuine breakthrough, a quiet but intense internal alarm sounds. Warning, you are leaving the tribe. You are moving beyond the familiar. If you succeed, you will be alone, exposed, and a target. Terrified of this social and emotional exile, your unconscious mind will often step in to engineer a safe failure. You'll make an uncharacteristically careless mistake. You'll unconsciously start a conflict with your biggest supporter. You'll be flooded with imposter syndrome. This isn't a personal failure of character. It's a tragic negotiation. You are sacrificing your highest potential on the altar of belonging, hoping the sacrifice will keep you safe within the herd. But that bargain doesn't keep you safe. It only keeps you small, forever wondering what if. So, with this understanding that we are dealing with an ancient guard, a wounded inner child, and a centuries-old social script, how do we move forward? The answer is not to declare war on yourself. You cannot win a civil war within your own psyche. The solution is to move from being a battlefield to becoming a skilled and compassionate diplomat of your inner world. It begins with a simple but profound shift. The next time you feel that powerful urge to procrastinate, hide, or sabotage, pause. Don't judge it. Get curious. Ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to protect me from right now? Is your procrastination protecting you from the fear of judgment if you succeed? Is your urge to pick a fight protecting you from the terrifying vulnerability of being truly seen? Then, begin a dialogue. This might feel strange, but it is powerful. Grab a journal and write, "Dear part of me that makes me want to avoid this, what do you need me to know?" Then, write from that part's perspective. Listen, the answer might be, "I'm exhausted, I'm terrified of being a fraud, or I feel this goal isn't truly ours." This is not self-indulgence. This is the exiled part stating its terms for peace and integration. Simultaneously, become an editor of that old, inherited social script. When you hear that inner critic say, "Who do you think you are?" recognize it for what it is, a recording. Acknowledge it. There's the old script, and then consciously, deliberately write over it. Say to yourself, "My growth is not a threat to my belonging. I choose to belong to myself first." This brings us to the most liberating perspective shift of all. Your self-sabotage is not a glitch in your system. It is a feedback mechanism. A glitch is meaningless noise. Feedback is vital, intelligent data. Your mind is not a simple machine designed to blindly chase goals. It is a complex, wise ecosystem. The sabotage is often the ecosystem's desperate way of sending a message. Stop. You are acting against your own integrity. You are pursuing a goal that will cost you your soul. You are trying to move forward without all parts of you on board. That last-minute failure that crushed you, it might have saved you from a career that would have erased your true personality. That relationship you ruined, it might have been a beautiful cage. The project you abandoned, it might have been someone else's dream. The goal, therefore, is not to become a perfectly efficient, frictionless machine. That is the path of self-alienation. The true goal is to become the wise, compassionate leader of your inner world. A leader who can listen to the concerns of the security guard, understand the grief of the shadow, and discern between life-giving goals and soul-crushing scripts. You are not broken. You are in a profound, ongoing negotiation with the deepest, most protective parts of your being. They are not enemies to be defeated with more shame and discipline. They are ancient protectors, exiled artists, and loyalists to outdated maps. They need to be heard. They need to be understood. They need to be thanked for their service and then gently, firmly updated on the new mission. Not just survival, but a thriving, authentic, and whole life. Start the conversation today. The most profound adventure isn't outward into the world, but inward toward the parts of yourself you were taught to call enemies. That journey begins with a single curious question whispered in the silence of your own mind. What are you trying to tell me?